Live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. It's time to get your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. Now, can you dig that?
Boom! Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T. Six-time world champ, man. Two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. As always, want to thank the people stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting you champagne wishes, caviar dreams, man. Oh, yes. How you feel, dog? How you feel?
You know, Booker, coming off of a great weekend of reality of wrestling action and a lot of stuff. I do want to say right here on the top, I appreciate everybody from the reality wrestling world and everyone who's reached out in regards to my father who passed away on the 19th. I appreciate all the words and the sentiment, and I appreciate the Row Nation for giving me a warm embrace, because that family really is that's the Row family, and it feels that way. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's definitely reached out. He great individual, and it sucks that he's no longer here, but he had a great run, as we say in the wrestling business, and so I appreciate everybody.
Hey, man, you definitely represented on Saturday night for your dad, so I'm definitely I'm sure he's looking down proud. You know what I mean? So job well done, man. He did a good job.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that, Book. And I will say, to bring it back to Roe for a second, there are two things that I did want to say real quick regarding him in reality of wrestling. First off, my folks, you remember, Book, they always would sit in the front row, right in the corner. And one time after the show, Tempo came up to me and he was like, Terrell Tempo, a leader of the command. And he goes, "Is that your dad out in the front row?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I see him here all the time. I didn't know that was your dad." The next show comes, Terrell Tempo, and my dad always wore a baseball hat. Terrell Tempo brought a Terrell Tempo baseball hat, and he gave it to me. He's like, "Give this to your dad." And then every show my dad too came after that, he had the Terrell Tempo baseball hat on, and Tempo would always go over there and mess with him or something like that. And it was always something that he enjoyed. Now, the other thing I will say, when we were trying to come up with a name for one of our signature events, I had like a little piece of paper and I was writing them all. We were trying to figure out what to call our Rumble. I had all kinds of ideas, all of which you didn't like, and Kevin didn't like. They just didn't sound right. And I remember talking to my dad one day. I'm like, "I don't know what to call this thing." And he's the one who threw it out to me. "What if you call it The Last Stand?" And it was my dad who came up with that name. And I remember calling Kevin and you, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about The Last Stand?" I think I took credit for it at the time, but
Yeah.
it was definitely Dad who came up with The Last Stand, and now it's morphed into The Last Stand Rumble. So he's got an impact on Row history there, because The Last Stand has become such a special event for all of us. So I just wanted to share those two stories.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Speaking of history, man, we had a history making weekend with Natty
Neidhart.
coming down and doing it in the main event against Promise Braxton. Heart and Soul. They had their own night. The ladies had their own night to go out there and shine. And did they do that? Did they do that? Yes, they
Incredible.
did. I give the ladies, man, a big round of applause. I give all the guys, all the talent on the show on Saturday night. You guys went out there and you rocked it and really represented for reality wrestling. We really got a competition now as far as Road Platinum and Road Glory now. The guys are really, really invested in being the number one show. I heard some of them talking about it, so I'm like, okay, I think it's time to take this thing to another level. So, again, appreciate all the hard work on Saturday night. And again, Natalia and Promise Braxton, the future Promise Braxton. Man, we love you guys.
Yeah, it was an amazing night and a sellout. Let's say sold out to the rafters, quite literally, due to our new seating arrangement. They were up in the rafters watching Heart and Soul and Glory 4. Made history. Also, give a big shout out to Gigi Ray, who is the first ever Road Glory Women's Champion. That's a huge moment for her. She becomes, I think, the first ever, she becomes the first ever Triple Crown woman in reality of wrestling history by winning the Diamonds title, which then became the women's title, the women's tag team titles, and now the Glory Championship. She's the only one to hold all 3 titles. So congratulations to her. And then, yeah, Natty Neidhart and Promise Braxton. Wow. Wow. I mean, the sentiment that Natty put on social, I want to read because that says it all, right? This is what Natty said on X yesterday. With a world record for the most matches of any woman in WWE history, this match with Promise Braxton for Reality of Wrestling was up there with one of my favorites of my career. Reality of Wrestling is top tier. Promise is the real deal. She's as good as anyone I've ever worked with. It was also my pleasure beating her. But that was that's high praise. That's high praise coming from Natalia, who obviously has a incredible wrestling lineage with her father, her uncles, her grandfather, everybody involved in the Hart family. Her husband was an incredible performer when he was still in ring and a great wrestling mind. Shout out to TJ Wilson, who was in there on Saturday as well. Wow, what high praise for Promise and Rowe. And that I actually screenshotted that and sent it to our director, Kevin Barnhart. And I said, this gave me chills reading it because it really did.
Nah, man, I can only imagine how Promise felt in there with Natty. I remember my Steamboat moment, being in the ring with Steamboat. Man, I walked away from that match and I was like, man, I think I got it. I think I figured it out, man. I think I know what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Because it was like a master class. And I'm sure Promise had that same feeling in that match because I could see, the work being put in and seeing Promise actually picking up and sniffing everything that was going on and say, man, I'm going to put this in the playbook going forward, So, man, as well as Promise, she didn't look out of place at all. She did not look like she did not belong in the middle of that ring with Natty Neidhart. So, man, like I say, big ups to the ladies for going out there and really, really creating something special. I'm sure Promise is going to remember that night for the rest of her life. Just like I talk about Steamboat,
right?
I talk about being in the ring with Ric Flair and Perfect, and certain guys, Bret Hart. Those matches, they are seared in my brain. Unlike a lot of matches, because I don't remember a lot of stuff that I did, but those matches I remember like it was just yesterday being in there. So I'm sure Promise is going to be reliving this moment many, many a day.
I'm sure it's a surreal experience, when you were in there with Mach or Rick or any of those guys, Ricky and Brett. It's a surreal thing to be like, oh, I'm about to collar an elbow with this guy, right? And then you lock up and boom, there we are. Now we're into the stuff. But I can't imagine what the story in your head is ahead of time. And it was the same thing for Promise. I purposefully kind of kept my distance from Promise all day because I wanted her to stay focused and stay in the zone. You know what I mean? Because I knew what the moment meant for her. I was excited for it. So I can only imagine how much she felt. And yeah, by all accounts, she aced every test that you could throw out there. And you know what I want to see? You know what I want to see really for Promise Braxton? I want to see 2 things. First, I want to see a rematch. But more importantly, I want to see a big, nice, fat, old contract put out for Promise Braxton because I think that she's earning her stripes and she just got the rub from Natty.
She got the rub. She definitely got the rub. You know what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen for her. I told Promise Braxton, she came to me one day and she said, Book, you think it's really going to happen for me? And I said, the only promise you're going to have. She goes, what's that? I go, counting the money. I say, so let's just keep putting the work in. That's what I tell all of my students at Reality Wrestling. I know you're wondering if it's going to ever happen for you. Just keep putting the work in. That's all you can really do in this game is keep putting the work in. Time off is your worst enemy. If you ain't studying, trust me, somebody else is. You know what I mean? So you better be on top of your game if you planning on doing this. One of my students texted me today, man. It was like, man, I wish I was there training. I'm down at Reality Wrestling, and I say, don't worry, it's gonna happen for you. We're gonna get you down here. You know what I mean? And we're gonna make it happen. So now, man, it's what it's all about. It's all about trying to get that knowledge and seeing what it's gonna take to get to that next level.
Well, again, you'll be able to see Road Glory 4 and Heart and Soul, the television special that'll be up on the YouTube channel very soon. So stay tuned to the Road socials for that. And also on July 12th, Reality Wrestling Platinum is back in the building. And then, Book, I'm feeling the competition. You know what I mean? We're about to put them Glory boys to shame is what we're going to do. Boys and girls. We're going to put them to shame, man. We're going to put them to shame.
Wait a minute, who is we?
We, you know? the platinum folk. You know what I mean?
Platinum crew.
The platinum peeps. You know, the platinum crew.
I'm going to tell you, the commentary team, I must give big props to over there at Glory because it seems like they do something different. You know what I mean?
You didn't even hear them.
I got a mic. I got a speaker right at my table. What are you talking about? I can hear all the commentary.
Okay.
I mean, I got that hooked up. You know, I got the sound. The sound guy came in and hooked up.
Hey, look, let me tell you this. When those boys have a national radio show on ESPN, they can holler at me. But until then, you know what I mean? I got my credentials.
Look, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. The boys sound good. They sound damn good. And you know about this job here is all about somebody taking your spot. Hey, man, we're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
Fellas, let's talk about confidence. The kind of confidence that counts when it's time to step up and deliver. And that's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets designed to help men achieve stronger, harder, and longer lasting erections. We're talking about getting in the game and staying in it.
And you know what they say, man. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And with Blue Chew, you can take these chewables anytime, day or night. So you're always good to go when the opportunity strikes. And the best part, the entire process is done online. No doctor's visits, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at a pharmacy.
Ooh, yeah. And Blue Chew is putting their money where their mouth is, offering you a whole month for free. It's simple. You sign up at bluechew.com and consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once approved, you'll receive your prescription delivered discreetly right to your door, made in the USA and ready to go when you are.
Now, Brad, let's get real. Does it work, man? They'll mistake you for a soldier at full salute. You'll be pitching a tent like a true Eagle Scout, man. Blue Chew won't stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house. That's the mission, dog.
And listen, confidence is key, especially when you're all bricked up. There's nothing sexier than a man who's ready to go. And at BlueChew.com, they can help bring that energy when it matters most. Don't miss out on what could be the best night of your life. Make life easier by getting harder. Discover your options at BlueChew.com, and we've got a deal just for our listeners. Try your first month absolutely free. Visit BlueChew.com, use the promo code Booker, and there's more details and important safety information. And as always, we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Hall of Fame podcast.
Oh, yeah, man. Boom! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. But it was a hell of a weekend. Like I said, reality of wrestling went down. But UFC 317 went down as well. And we talked about it. And I think just about everything we talked about came to fruition, other than maybe a couple.
Decisions. Kind of went the other way.
On the lower end. But the Pantoja went out and he represented. Got the job done, as well as Ilya Topuria went out there and got the job done. And the thing is, let's talk about that main event. I mean, Charles Oliveira. Was that his swan song? Was that it for Charles Oliveira? What do you think?
I mean, as far as a title contender, that was the closest he's ever going to come again. And I think Charles Oliveira's had an incredible career. He's held the title before and has beaten some big names. But when you get out there and you get dusted in the first round, in pretty convincing fashion. There was no like, oh man, he looked good for a second. I mean, he was dominated. That's what happened. Ilya Topuria said I was going to knock him out in the first round. That's what he did. He's the new lightweight champ after being the featherweight champ. He's a guy who you have to earmark as a potential face of the UFC moving forward. And for Charles Oliveira, you know, it's kind of, do you remember WrestleMania 6 when Hogan lost to Warrior and Warrior was celebrating with the title? And then they had Hogan in that little ring cart, and he was just back there looking at Warrior as he rode off into the distance. That was the Charles Oliveira was Hogan in this scenario, right? He was just kind of riding off in the.
You know what they say in that moment too, right?
What's that?
You know it. You know.
Oh! No one mobs a beaten champion.
Nobody mobs a beaten champion. And I love that quote, man. That's one of my favorite quotes of all times, man. But yeah, man, Charles Oliveira, 35 years old,
Yeah.
and the clock, pretty much has run out. Sand in the hourglass is done, pretty much, for this guy. 35 years old. All the wear and tear on the body, all the times, inside that octagon, the getting tapped on that chin. I remember the first time I saw Charles Oliveira get knocked out and stopped in a fight, and it was versus Cub Swanson. I don't know, 2012, something like that. I'm serious. You know what I mean? And he was a kid. He was pretty much a kid inside the octagon. Bang, got tapped on the chin, and it was like a delayed reaction where he wobbled, and then all of a sudden, boom, he just fell out and he stopped. You know what I mean? So this guy literally cut his teeth inside the UFC with some of the most dangerous fighters in the world. And now to step up in there against a guy like Ilia Topuria, who's a sniper with that big shot, left hand, all right. Got him up out of there, man. And I say, man, it was a devastating loss. That was devastating.
Yeah.
That was a loss where it seemed like he would have left his gloves in the middle of that octagon and say, man, it's been a hell of a ride. But obviously, he might be looking for more.
Well, you know what? I mean, he would have loved to have won that title. Then maybe if he won the title, he would have retired because he's like, I can't get any better than this, because he would follow suit with Johnny Bones Jones, right? As he retire as a champion. But I don't really see much for, when I say I don't see much, I don't see a title picture or a way back to the title for Charles Oliveira, especially at this age. Now I think he has 11 losses on his career. He's coming off of a couple of his first losses in this last run since he won the title. Now that's 3 for him in his last 6 or something along those lines. So it doesn't look good for the future of him. And you know what? He was an incredible fighter. Look, when we saw him in person, I was thoroughly impressed.
But he can still have some good fights, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, there's still some good fights out there for Charles Oliveira. Maybe he got, let's just say, for instance, he still got. I mean, no, maybe he's still got maybe 2-3 fights left on his contract, is what I'm saying, that he got.
I'm sure he's got more fights on his contract.
That's what I'm saying. So they still got a few good fights they could throw him. He may not become champion. It's a lot of guys. You know what I mean? Dariush. I don't think he's going to become champion in the UFC, but they still keep finding a way to put him out there. And that's the way they've always done fighters in the UFC. If you want to get on the card, Don Cerrone, we'll get you on the card.
I was about to say, Cowboy Cerrone. Hey, man, you want to fight? You want to fight this weekend? We'll put you on there, man. Exactly. You really want to fight? We're in Sheboygan. You'll be fighting some guy with more consonants than vowels in his last name. But
Get me in, coach. But no, that's the game. So I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure we're going to see Charles Oliveira in the octagon again. The thing is, we probably see Charles Oliveira win because he doesn't lose against like lower ranked fighters or anything like that. This guy only lose to championship caliber.
Yeah, sure.
So I think we still got a lot left to see in Charles Oliveira. Even though I would want to see him walk away right now, because that, like I said, that was a devastating knockout. Normally, when you get knocked out like that, it's bound to happen again. Yeah.
We've talked about it before. When you get touched on the chin and put out, which he's had a few times in his career, but never this late in the game. It's only going to see what's going to happen for him. Time will tell. But what do you think about Ilia Topuria? Do you feel like they're going to put him on the Wheaties box? Is he the next guy?
No, not at all. No, they're not going to do that. Not. I don't know if you saw the post fight, but Dana White don't seem to like this guy at all.
What did he say?
I mean, he questioned him on perhaps the two things I wouldn't be talking to a man about, and one of them was his wife. Bringing his wife in the ring, bringing his kid in the octagon. We don't do that. We don't do that. As well as Patty Pimblett coming in the. I mean, just don't look like Ilia Topuria is on the Christmas list for Dana White. I'm serious. I don't know why. I just felt that way. I mean, I know we normally don't see guys bring their wives, inside the octagon. Was that the first time we've seen something like that?
I mean, they've brought him in when they've retired before. I know I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen it after a championship win, but we've seen it in boxing a lot. Boxing,
we see
the
it
wife gets
on
in.
the regular. We see it on the regular.
But let me ask you this. Did you, and with respect to Ilya Topuria, did you see Ilya Topuria's wife?
Yeah.
I'd be showing her off too, man.
I'm like, bitch, you better get in here.
Get in here. Let the world see.
I'm saying,
Get the world see. I got the title and the title.
It's me right here. This is all me. Everything's in here is me. You know what I mean? And when you double champ, you get a little leeway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you draw numbers like this guy is drawing numbers right now, he should be the face of the company right now.
I agree.
So when you got a guy like that, like a Jon Jones, guys like that normally get a little bit more leeway than most guys. When you're the champion, double champion, you get a little bit more leeway than most guys. Okay, I don't see everybody all the guys bringing their wives in there, but when you double champ and you just knocked out the guy, you do what the hell you want. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
That's just my opinion.
I agree.
mean? So I just don't see Ilya Topuria being, Dana White's favorite fighter.
Well, look, I don't know about Dana White, but I like Ilya Topuria, and I'm a big fan of his wife, and I'm a big fan of his fight performance on Saturday at UFC 317. This is how I know his wife's fine, again, with respect. I can't even pronounce her name. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at it now. Georgina Uzketagi Badel Topuria, I think is how you say it. That's how you already know, man.
All you need to know.
You already know.
That's all you need to know. What do you think about the Pantoja fight? Kai Kara-France.
Kai Kara-France, they had a couple good scrapping rounds, and Kai Kara-France had some shining moments in there, brief moments.
But did it go exactly the way I said it was going to go, though? I said, this is what I said about Kai Kara-France. I said, he's not going to be able to back up. He's going to have to bite down on his mouthpiece and hope the hell he can get this guy out of there. He did that. Didn't work.
It didn't work. But is it just me or is Pantoja, like, from fight to fight, it's like his fight IQ has obviously, it grows when you have more fights and you're competing at the level that he's at, but it doesn't seem like his body's wearing on him as much as we would see somebody at 35 at light heavyweight or heavyweight. I guess because maybe he's a little bit lighter. It's not as taxing on the body or something, because he almost seems like he's getting better physically in the octagon.
You know what, man? I think it's those spurts, fighters go through. It's just like, you remember Rafael dos Anjos?
Yes, of course.
You remember that run he went on?
RDA, baby. He had a nice little run.
He went on a damn good run. But before that, RDA really wasn't that guy. And then after that run, he wasn't that guy either. So I think guys like Pantoja find something at a certain stage in their careers, just like Robbie Lawler. Which was Robbie Lawler. He was a guy that could go out there and get knocked out and get beat. And then all of a sudden, bang, this guy seemed like he was the best karate guy. He seemed like he was the best fighter in the world at one point. So I think fighters seem to go through those spurts, like my boy Kendrick had going through that growth spurt. You know what I mean? I think it's something like that.
It very well could be, because going back to RDA, I just wanted to look it up. He lost to Habib in 2014, but then he beats Jason Hyde with TKO, Benson Henderson KO, beats Nate Diaz, Anthony Pettis, Don Cerrone back to back, and that was kind of his run. But I remember everybody talking about it.
Wow. It was such an awesome freaking run. You know what I mean? I was like, man, nobody's going to beat this guy. And then he get beat, he can't win again. Hey, we got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, this is Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Fame. I got something for you guys, man. Look, when I was a kid, man, cereal was my jam. But now, since I'm a grown man, I'm looking for something that gives me more than just a sugar rush and carbs, man. That's when I found Magic Spoon. Look, it's a cereal that gives you the taste of your childhood favorites, but without sugar and packed with tons of protein.
And if you're already a fan of Magic Spoon, then you need to listen up to this, because I've got some big news. Magic Spoon has taken that amazing cereal that we all love and turned it into high-protein treats. These new treats are light, they're crispy, and they become my go-to snack, especially before or even after the gym.
Yeah, man, every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and only 4 grams of net carb. That fruity and cocoa flavor are the classic ones, but there's a whole lot more to try, man.
And those new treats, they've got 12 grams of protein and come in flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Perfect when you're on the go or you need a quick snack to fuel up before that workout.
Yeah, man, I keep a box in my gym bag, but it's a great late night snack as well. Those treats have that crispy texture, great taste, and the macros that make you feel good about eating them.
So Magic Spoon's bringing back those nostalgic flavors, but without all the stuff that we don't want. So if you want to try it for yourself and get $5 off your next order, go to magicspoon.com/HOF. That's magicspoon.com/HOF. Or you can even find it on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store.
That's magicspoon.com/HOF for $5 off. Magic Spoon, hold on to the dream. Boom. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just kicking it. Yeah, UFC 317 went down. I think fight of the night was Roval versus Joshua Van. Those guys went there. They rocked it, man. I picked Roval because I thought his experience, being a little bit older, being in the prime of his career at 32 years old, was going to catch the 23-year-old kid off guard. But I also said, Muhammad Ali said, I'm going to shake up the world at 64 and talk no more at 22 years old, going out there and winning the world heavyweight championship of the world. So I was kind of like on point on both ends on that one right there. It could have went both ways. But that boy Van, man, that little T kick, and seemed like he just started rolling after he started. He didn't use that earlier, and that's one thing that's really unique about fighters. They may not show you their arsenal until they actually need to. And man, when he starts showing that one little wrinkle, I don't even know if it was a T kick, but it was quick. It was quick. It was very quick. And from that point on, it seemed like Roval was like, man, what the hell is going on here? It was, but both ways. Those guys fought. Fight of the night. Give them, hey, Dana, give them both bonuses.
Dana White, to his credit, Dana White gave Roval his winning money. Like as if he would have won the fight. He gave him the same rate because of how great of a fight that it was. And it was the fight of the night. Some people are calling it a top 10 fight in UFC history. I think we're being a little bit of a prisoner of the moment in that regard.
You gotta compare it to what we've seen as of late.
As of late, it definitely stands out in recent memory as like, wow, these two guys went at it. You know, the same way like certain fights in certain eras, like I don't know how many people talk about the Roy McDonald Robbie Lawler fight, but like I remember watching that and go, this might be the greatest fight I've ever seen, just the way those two guys went at it. So we could be a prisoner of the moment. That fight is still up there for me. Going back to Van though, you know, I like his little kick. I like his arsenal. Just don't do like Paige Van Zandt did and start naming your finish. Remember when Paige had that kick and she named it? I think she named it. I can't remember what she named it. The shotgun shells or something like that. She named her finish. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't name it. That's all I'm asking.
Hey, man, people do that sometimes, name stuff. You know, I mean, you was just talking about the what's the guy got the kick? Oh man, I can't think of his name right now. You know, but we just talking about him not too long. UFC fighter.
It'll come to me in a second.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But my thing is this, man. You know, the fight game is a rough game. Those guys went out there and they're like warriors, man. They're like soldiers. I mean, gladiators. You know, seriously. When I see guys like that go in there and fight, you know, in front of, I don't know, 20,000 people. I think the gate was 20,000, 19,000 and some change. The gate was $11 million gate. You know, $11 million plus gate. To see these guys go out in the middle of that octagon and throw hands, man, it's barbaric as barbaric can be, but I love it, man. I love the sport, and I love what these guys do. They should get paid. They should get paid big money for going out there doing what they're doing.
Krylov is who we were talking about, right? The Krylov kick.
Nope.
No. That's who I thought you were talking about. We'll come to us.
Not Nikita. We think it'll come to me.
Yeah. But you know, okay. Also, though, on Saturday, UFC 317 went down earlier in the week. We heard about Jon Jones' retirement. We covered this on our ESPN national broadcast on Saturday. So thanks you to everybody who tuned into that live with us. Our countdown to UFC 317. Jon Jones retired. That's a big thing. Any more thoughts on Jon for our listeners here on the Hall of Fame podcast that we didn't talk about on Saturday?
You know, we had Anthony Lionheart Smith. And you know, Anthony didn't want to say anything negative towards Jon Jones, and I totally get it. I totally get it. Those guys went in there and they wore it inside that cage, and you can only respect a man who go out there and do it. But myself, as far as just me being a sports guy, I would have loved to have seen Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall go out there and fight. Now I know Jon Jones, he's made a lot of money, and he's probably, saved a lot of it. Hopefully invested a lot of it well. And I always say, man, if you can get out of the game, get out. But I just think the fans, man, would have loved to have seen it. But I get it both ways. I understand Jon Jones's perspective. You know what I mean? I'm just talking as a fan. You know what I mean? I'm not the one that's got to live with the bumps and the bruises and the blows after you leave that arena in front of that 20,000. It probably would have been 30,000. If Jon Jones would have been in the house. And then just say, for instance, it's not the thrill of victory, but the agony of defeat. You know what I mean? And just say, for instance, it's one of those fights that takes so much life, out of one. So I get it, man. I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, Jon Jones walking away, there's going to be some questions around him always, but I think that he's definitely, when you talk about who the greatest of all time is, his in-ring antics or outside the octagon antics, they're kind of thrown by the wayside just because of his natural ability and what he's been able to accomplish in the sport. 2-division champion, so on and so forth. I would have loved to have seen him and Francis Ngannou. More so than him and Tom Aspinall. I would have liked to see him and Francis Ngannou just one time, man. Or him and Brock. Remember, he called out Brock at one point too. Any of those fights, I would have loved to have seen.
I don't know how it happened to come up on my feed this morning, but it was when Jon Jones got pulled over by a police officer, and he was in a Corvette, and he was just driving. The cops say he was trying to race another car, but they never got over the speed limit. But he said he took off fast from the light and revved his engine. So the cop pulled him over. Not only pulled him over, but he writes Jon Jones 5 tickets. Okay, literally 5 tickets. And Jon was trying to be as nice as he possibly could in the beginning, and then he got a little frustrated. You know what I mean? And the cop asked Jon Jones. He goes, "Why is your car so loud?" And he goes, "It's a sports car." And I go, "That's a good answer." You know what I mean? The cops say he went over the line. You know what I mean? But he wrote him 5 tickets. And you could tell it was blatant, just just messing with him, just heckling him. And he was just trying to get Jon Jones to do something and say something. So I don't know if Jon Jones needs to move out of that part of the city.
He got to get out of Albuquerque.
You know what I mean?
This man gets more problems in Albuquerque.
I swear to God, it was blatant harassment. And I'm not a defender of Jon Jones or anything like that. But if you go and watch this video, him getting pulled over in his Corvette, you're going to say the same thing I'm saying right now. So, Jon Jones, get up out of Albuquerque, bro. I know you got roots and all that, but you got too much money to be messing around.
Get out of Albuquerque. Come to the state of Texas. Don't come to Houston. But you can go anywhere else. Go to Austin. That's where all them going.
That's where the nice houses at.
Yeah. You want to go to Austin, man.
That's where you too, man. You wouldn't even think you're in Texas.
You wouldn't even know it. You know what? Do you remember also I think it was during the pandemic when there were some it was during the George Floyd protest.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And he was like taking spray cans out of kids' hands and stuff. Can you imagine you're getting ready to tag up the side of a building and the UFC heavyweight champion of the world grabs a can out of your hand? You can't do nothing, man. There's nothing you can do with that except go, all right, yeah, you can have it.
You can have it. Yeah.
I remember seeing a video too of Jon standing in the airport talking to somebody, and a guy comes up behind him and bumps his shoulder and just keeps walking. And Jon just goes, like, he just goes,
no, really? I'm serious, man. I'm serious. It seemed like that dude, just brings a lot of negative attention, from people. And I'm not saying that a lot of the attention is not warranted because he's done some really, really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like the hit and run and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like I say, he's living in the wrong city. That's just me. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. But just when I saw that video, I was like, wow, man. I could imagine getting pulled over in the city of Houston because I've gotten pulled over many a days. And I swear to God, I was in my Porsche one day, and when I first bought it, boom, and I was close to the house, and bing, I hit it, and right there by Kroger, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And I passed the cop, and I got, oh, he got me. And he turned around, he lit me up, and he rolled up on me, and he goes, license, the insurance. I go, man, I'm sorry, man. I said, I know what I did wrong, man. I just hit it, man. Just wanted to test it out, you know what I mean? And he goes, all right, man, Look, don't do that again, man. Just keep it tight, bro. You know what I mean? All right, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so he was a cool cop. He knew who I was. I'm sure that cop knew who Jon Jones was. Did he have to give him a break? No, he didn't. You have to give him a break. But, a ambassador like Jon Jones has been for the city of Albuquerque,
Yeah.
you give him a break. I
Yeah.
think that's just the way that's the way I see it. I could be wrong. Stick around, man. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, y'all, Booker T here alongside with my main man, Brad Gilmore. And today we're talking about something that could really change the game when it comes to how you get paid.
That's right, Booker, because let's face it, life doesn't just happen every 2 weeks. So why wait for a payday? With EarnIn, the money you've earned already can be in your hands today.
EarnIn is this incredible app that lets you access your pay as you earn it. We're talking about up to $100 per day and up to $750 each pay period.
All you got to do is download the EarnIn app, verify your paycheck, and boom, you can access up to $100 a day as you work. And the cool part, you just leave an optional tip, and any money you access plus the tip gets repaid when your next paycheck rolls in.
Brad, I'm always talking about staying ready so you don't have to get ready, right? Imagine having that extra cash for that surprise date night, or maybe when you have to take the furry little friend to the vet unexpectedly.
Absolutely, Booker. Or even those times when you need to grab a last minute gift, or maybe you're a little short on rent, or hey, even you might want to pick up some new gear for yourself or your kids or your lady.
Folks, make EarnIn part of your financial playbook. Join over 3.5 million customers who are finding financial stability and peace of mind thanks to EarnIn.
So don't wait around for a payday. Get your money when you need it and take control of your finances. Download EarnIn today and experience what it's like to access pay on your terms.
Get started with EarnIn now and join the millions who are getting their pay their way. It's time to EarnIn, not just earn. Check it out, man. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, baby. Yeah. Where are we, man? Where are we?
Well, you know what? We're going to be wrapping up here shortly, so we're going to get to some super chats in this segment. A little bit ahead of schedule, but before we do, let's talk about Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia over the weekend. Just a couple of highlights, and I know there's going to be some chats about it. I'm sure that we'll get to as well. But since you are, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest king of the ring of all time, I ask you, what do you think about Cody Rhodes now adding his name to the pantheon of kings of the ring in WWE history? And I think last year, it wasn't Xavier. It was Gunther last year. Xavier the year before. So he's following Gunther as king of the ring. And, he's reigning over the throne. That also means he'll get a world title shot at SummerSlam.
It's a great honor. It's a great honor for Cody to be among the greats, the great kings who've sat on the throne. Yes, it really is. I want to see where Cody takes it. That's what I want to see more than anything. We've seen guys like Xavier, become king. His king run was, quite entertaining. Let's just say that. And we've seen Gunther, right?
Gunther, yeah.
Gunther.
Zelina Vega was the first queen.
Wade Barrett, King Barrett.
He was King Barrett.
King Regal.
Years ago.
King Regal.
King Sheamus.
King Sheamus. But they only make one action figure. They only make one action figure, one king. Find that surprising?
It's interesting, isn't it?
You find that surprising?
Huh, I wonder why that is. Oh, is it Steve Austin they make the king of the
No.
Oh, they don't make that one?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it Triple H's? Does he
No,
have a no?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay. It's Billy Gunn.
No.
Not Ken Shamrock?
No.
Who do they make? Who do they make? What's the one?
They've only made one king figure
Mhm.
past what 17 years, maybe.
Okay.
King Booker.
King Booker.
King Booker. The
Yeah.
most noble, the most revered king of them all. And then you know what? People can say what they want to say. I want to see how Cody approached this role because it's a very, very delicate role. It's a balancing act to be able to go out there and be king and rule with an iron fist and still give the people something more than just that. It's a very, very hard balancing act. So I want to see how well Cody go out there and play this role. Is he going to wear the crown? Is he going to wear the crown proudly like I did? You know, that's what I want to see. I want to see how this thing play out.
I want to see what Cody does with it as well as, leading up to SummerSlam. We know Saturday night's main event, I believe, is on July the 11th. And that's where Gunther, the new heavyweight champion, defeated Jey Uso during our hiatus. He defeated Jey Uso to win the world title. He's going to be defending it against your old cohort, Bill Goldberg, in Goldberg's final match, presumably at Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, GA. See what happens there. Go ahead.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do have something I do want to talk about.
Go for it.
You know what? I want to reach out to all the guys of that era of Goldberg. You know what I mean? I want to, and the guys of that era, that are complaining about Goldberg. You know what I mean? Why does Goldberg get the shot? You know what I mean? Why is he in this match and this guy is not, in the match? You know what I mean? This, one of the younger guys should, I want to reach out to those guys because damn it, the reason why he's doing it, because it's the same thing your ass would have did if WWE called you to be in a final match with Gunther in a primetime spot. That's why. You know what I mean? So all the guys
in the hometown for the world title.
Anybody out there complaining can just shut the hell up. Seriously. Because I know if they would have called me, I would have did it. And I know just about anybody that's in that position that's able to actually walk to that ring, they would have did it too. So I just want to, and to the young guys, who may have a problem with it, you better hope and wish and pray that you're of the caliber of a Goldberg one day to where the company feel that you have that much to bring to the table, still at that age, to bring you back to give to the fans one more time. You better hope and pray that you're in that position just one day. And trust me, guys, time flies. Time flies. It goes quickly. I'm serious. So Goldberg, go out there and represent like the OG can do just one more time. Do it for me.
I love it, man. Atlanta, Georgia, Bill Goldberg, last match, Gunther, world title. Can't get any better than that Saturday night's main event. But let me ask you this. We also have a new queen of the ring. Jade Cargill is the queen of the ring, which, by the way, she had some of the coolest entrance gear of all time on Saturday. She came out looking like Storm from the X-Men, and it was incredible. She becomes the queen of the ring, kind of setting her up for maybe a title run here shortly at SummerSlam, potentially. We'll see what happens, but what do you think about Jade?
It's awesome. She's definitely put herself in position, with this new rule that they put in for the king and queen, you know what I mean? To whoever wins, get a title shot. See, I didn't have that luxury. I didn't have that. You know what I mean? I had to go out and win the World Heavyweight Championship, by force. I had to take it. You know what I mean? Unlike, just being given an opportunity. So I just wanted to put that out there. But no, Jade Cargill is definitely in prime position to go out here and do something really, really special. I always said Jade Cargill was going to be a huge star in WWE. You know what I mean? I said that, a long time ago. I said she has WWE written all over her. She's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. You know what I mean? They're gonna write stories about Jade Cargill one day. I mean, seriously. I mean, she's got. You talk about the superhero feel. Yeah, it's true. It's true. They only come along like her once in a lifetime.
Look, you can teach a wrist lock and you can teach a suplex. You can't teach presence. And that's what Jade Cargill has. She has incredible presence when she walks through the curtain. You have to see what she's doing.
Once in a lifetime.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. And you know what? Also, congratulations to her. I know she could be doing a movie with Jonathan Majors soon, making her acting debut. So she's got all kinds of stuff coming to Jade Cargill right now. But why don't we get into a few super chats before we wrap up the show today? Our first one is from Hefe Pilot. What's up, King Book in the boat? I want to send my condolences, BG. I appreciate that. Keep inspiring. And also, OG, I just applied for a hotel job in Houston. Hopefully, I can get it so I can start training early at the row.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you better get down there. You better get down there quick, man. We got so many guys coming into reality of wrestling, and we got Platinum and Glory picking up a lot of steam right now too. So you better get in where you fit in.
Get in where you fit in, man. We're gonna see you down there. Cali Toenail says Raquel Rodriguez is one of the ones. They both did a great job, but Raquel was a standout superstar of the whole PLE. After Evolution, she should have a solo run. Her and Rhea Ripley had a nice street fight in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. She did. There was a great match between both women. I do like Raquel. Do you think that she's primed for a solo run?
I think her time's going to come. But it's like a great writer said about me one time. He said, Booker T is going to be a great champion one day. He's going to set a lot of records. He said, but he needs to feel a little more pain, just a little bit more pain. And I think that's what Raquel Rodriguez is going to be going through. She's just need to feel a little bit more pain before she get to that next level.
We'll see. I like Raquel. I know Liv Morgan went down with an injury, so it could open up a spot for her when we hope Liv can get back as soon as she can. This one comes from D'Angelo Brown. What's your guys' reaction to Punk apologizing to the Saudi Arabia crowd for his 2019 tweet? Yeah, I did see that. I think it was in the kickoff. Punk did say he was sorry to the Saudi fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he said he was. I'm sure he apologized to the Miz too. When he came back to the company, may not have done it, live in front of the people or anything like that. But I'm sure he came back. I'm sure he did that with a lot of people. The Punk that left and the Punk that's come back, those are two different guys. I really must say that. And if you can't apologize for something that you said and we get past it, there's something wrong with you.
Facts.
Not me. If I could apologize and say, man, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Especially when, it's something said on a whim, on the spur of the moment about somebody else, and you just happen to get the backlash from it. If you can't apologize and move on, we got a problem. That's the way I look at it.
You got a huge problem. And to me, Punk, by all accounts, has turned a new leaf. And look, I'm also sure that I know I'm playing when I'm saying this. Well, I'm sure when he saw the Saudi check, and he was like, "Hey, apology. Who do I need to apologize to?
Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to?
All these guys are done, man. Riyadh season came through. No, I'm playing.
No, man. You apologize and you move on.
You apologize.
That's life.
Yeah, 100%. Two more super chats before we get out of here today. This one comes from Cali Toenail. I don't want to hear fight or Jake Paul in the same sentence. No mo. From now on, you say y'all watching the Jake Paul quarrel tonight. A quarrel. He did fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on Saturday and won via unanimous decision.
Yeah, and
nobody was talking about it, to be honest with you.
Nobody was talking about it. I saw some of it on YouTube. You know what I mean? It seemed very, very lackluster. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., man, I don't like talking about guys or anything like that, but he's never been a great fighter. You know what I mean? His dad was great. Julio Cesar Chavez was an unbelievable fighter, but Junior, he's been living off his father's name since he got in the boxing business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, duh. I mean, look, no disrespect to him either, but if your dad was Julio Cesar Chavez, you're going to try to come up and get a little check.
He tried hard.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
He did, and it just wasn't enough, man. It just wasn't enough for him. And Jake Paul, I don't know. I don't want to say it too soon.
I'm not going to crap on Jake, man, because it ain't Jake's fault.
Right.
You know, people buy it, people watch it. He's got his followers. You know what I mean? People been watching this guy for a long time, even before the boxing thing started. And he's created something that a lot of people wish that they could tap into. So I give Jake Paul props, man. If you can make people buy it, you know, you selling it, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. Bottom line. So our last one here is from D'Angelo Brown, new bloodline member Hikuleo. Yeah, Hikuleo was a part of Solo Sikoa's crew on Saturday. They didn't say his name, so I'm thinking his name's going to change. But we have another member of the ever-growing family.
I saw a question mark by his name. I don't know what it was or anything like that, but we got another member. We got another bloodline member, baby. You know what? It's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger, stronger, faster. And guess what? There's a few more members out there. There's a couple of more that you might see come up in the future in professional wrestling. So just keep your eyes open. The best is yet to come.
Yes. So there you go. That's our show today, BT.
Oh yeah, man. I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams, man. You know, Bradley, all the heavy lifting. All you guys for stepping inside again. Champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Until next time, peace. We